But that, of course, is one of the issues that we'll be focusing on this morning. Well, another issue we'll be focusing on this morning is U.S. considering visa ban on Nigerians over corruption and weak data systems under Tinubu's administration.
All right, good morning and thanks for joining us. Moses is not alone in feeling terrible about the state of Nigeria. It's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate. Anyway, away from that, police fired tear gas at residents protesting killings in Benue State. Still talking about the killings in Benue State. It's quite unfortunate.
Also on our radar today, outrage as Ganduje APC Northeast chairman endorses Tinubu, snubs Shetima, even as Nigerians are crying over the killings happening in a particular state in Nigeria. The only thing that happened to be the mind of the politicians at this point in time is campaigning, politicking for 2027, which is like 2 years to come to this point in time. It is quite unfortunate. But those actually are the major topic of conversation today. We have other interesting trending stories that kept social media buzzing during the weekend that Nigerians are also reacting to, and we'll read them out for your participation too. We're Voice of the People on Voice, and that's on YouTube. So if you've not really subscribed, you can do that. Voice of the People TV. And on all that social media platforms, you're at VOP TV Live. Visit our website, www.vop.ng. There you can get fresh and trending news stories. And we need your opinion. We need your contribution. Send us a 1-minute video of yourself reacting to any topic of conversation via the number you see scrolling on your screen. You can even call in also so that we can also get your voice. Because with Voice of the People, you have more than a voice. And talking about trending stories, one of it is that former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has urged young Nigerians to engage meaningfully in politics, warning that many enter without plans or understanding and end up achieving nothing. Speaking at the second annual Daniel Taiwo Odukoya Memorial Lecture in Lagos, Osinbajo emphasized that politics, despite its negative reputation, remains the only legitimate route to leadership and societal change. He cautioned that political participation must be grounded in knowledge, preparation, and strong values. And some persons, reacting to this particular call by the former Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, actually, some persons were saying, what are we going to be learning? Is it the way the elders who happens to be within the corridors of power thus far have been, bringing out what are perceived to be politics? We are practicing democratic system of government, for crying out loud, but some persons will tell you it's democracy when it favors the rich. And then what happened to the people that we know that democracy should be, government of the people, for the people, and by the people? They are not even being carried along. What are we going to learn in particular? Is it how some persons have been said to, to be fantastic when it gets to, harnessing the political space and making sure that whatever thing the person says sticks? What are we going to learn? Is it how persons who, first of all, chant this particular, mantra or mission or vision in a political party will cross carpet because it does not really favor them anymore? What are we going to learn from the, the persons that we have within the corridors of power? Is it how to wake up and decide to deflout the rule of law in Nigeria because we think we have immunity? What are we going to learn actually exactly? Those are the questions that young Nigerians are asking. What are we going to learn from the persons who have been there? Someone told Nigerians that he also lent his voice during the time of the military rule to make sure that restoration of civil rule in Nigeria at this point in time. Can we still say that that person, being the #1 citizen of the nation, still uphold the, the precept or the status of democracy at this point in time? What are we going to learn in particular? How political elites, elected officers are there to suck their citizens dry, to milk them dry, and they are moving around freely. Are we going to learn from a governor, a particular governor in Nigeria that uses the state fund to pay the children's school fees to a certain level, and then when the person is being caught, he's still moving around freely, still engaging in political activities in Nigeria? What exactly are we going to learn from the politicians that we have? You're calling on young Nigerians to come and participate actively, making them understand that we need to be there, because some persons who are there end up achieving nothing because they don't even understand. Now, the question is, what do you want us to understand at this point in time?
Oh, well, the former vice president said a whole lot more, and well, some will disagree with his stance, but he did say that young people Nigerians in general should endeavor to read wide, understand politicians. Well, in that regard, about understanding politicians, I think I align with his thoughts. You need to understand the terrain. You need to know how it's played. You need to know how it's done. Politics is studied the world over. All right. For some people, before they get into Congress, they would have started, being tutored on how politics is done. So it should be. But the problem is, the people that have indicated interest are majorly, doing it so that they could take over and continue to enrich themselves. That's the unfortunate part of it. Because we have young people who are interested in politics, but it's all because they want to gather resources to themselves. Politics in Nigeria has been seen as a means of enrichment. That's what it is. Now, when Professor Yemi Osinbajo spoke about reading wide, interestingly, according to UNICEF, a large percentage of Nigerians, in fact, about 73% of Nigerian children aged 7 to 14 cannot read and understand a sentence. They cannot read and understand a sentence. That's according to UNICEF. Now, a large percentage of Nigerian children lack reading and numeracy skills at the growing stage. A reasonable percentage, a troubling percentage, which is about 38% of adults are illiterate. And these are the people that will go into politics. And so I think politicians even like when it's that way, when the few know, the few are knowledgeable and they use that knowledge to cow the rest of the population. We, especially in the northern parts of Nigeria, where we have fewer people being educated. So the leaders can tell them, this is what you should do. This is to your benefit. This is where you should go. And because your religion, Allah says you should do this. And then boom, they buy into it without having, the ability to think it through. To say, will this really benefit me and my people? So government, this is where I'm coming to. Government, if you want Nigeria to be better, we should start from the kindergarten level. Give some sort of free education at the kindergarten level. Private schools have taken over that sector. And it's expensive. It's expensive. So a lot of people homeschool their children up until they get to a point where they can say, okay, go to one Jack-on-Day school, primary school. But the kindergarten level, where some things are imbibed, we have abandoned that. We have left it for private proprietors who just want to make money. And even those that make themselves affordable are not imbibing, they're not inculcating proper knowledge. For some of us, we had a very good background. That's why we can even speak English, because the background. In my nursery school days, I had teachers from Ghana, teachers from outside Nigeria. We don't have that anymore. So that's what government should be talking about. Developing education from the kindergarten level. So people will know the essence of reading and enjoy reading and be able to assimilate and be able to solve problems. And then we can talk about having a level playing field for those that would want to participate in, the politics in Nigeria. Well, that's my stance.
When I was asking some question earlier on this table, the reason was this. He actually advised that Nigerians, young Nigerians who want to join politics must study, according to him, understand how things work. Number one, read biographies. And I wanted to ask, whose biography are we reading? That's one. Understand healthcare, education, and economic system, particularly in African context. And that was why I was now asking, are we going to be reading biographies of persons
yes.
who are stuffing cash
I align with
in
him.
their pockets?
Oh, no, come on. He said Africa.
Okay.
Not
African countries?
Yes. You could read the biography of Julius Nyerere. We could read, people like that. And
people who have been in power and they actually pose themselves as dictators for so long. What are we really going to read now? At this point
anyway, I think, Moses, while you were talking, and now that Fina is talking, I'm just giggling at both of you. You want people in government. You're advising people in government.
That would be the way forward.
The way forward. The people in government, the people that you advise, you think they are interested in creating a level playing field. No, they are not.
I know.
No, they are not. Because let's even start from, you see, some of these, sometimes when people in government, occasions like this, when they don't have anything to say, they just say something, they give out sound bites. Let's even start from Yemi Oshibanjo himself. How many people's biography did he read? And how many of those biographies did he apply in the 8 years that he was in government with his principal? Let's go for statistics, the data. At what percentage is there mid-inflation in 2015? At what percentage is there living? Exchange rate?
Can we excuse him because he was a VP? And
no, you don't. Have you excused? Has anybody excused that? Have you excused has anybody excused Atiku Abubakar for what happened between 1999 and 2007?
Imagine,
because they always go back there. While you were in government between 1999 and 2007 with Obasanjo, what did you do? So let us ask Oshibanjo that question. What did he do? If you read Julius Nyerere, if you read Lee Kuan Yew, if you read Mahatma Gandhi or Mahathir Mohamad and all of these people, how much of those things did he apply while in government? Nothing, practically nothing. So as far as when you say that young politicians don't have any plan when they're going to, they have a plan.
They have a plan.
They have a plan.
Absolutely.
Their plan is to get rich.
Exactly.
To get wealthy, to line their pockets.
You nailed it.
Because they learn faster.
Because they learn very fast from who? From people at the top. So that's just it. There's no need, trying to paper all over these things. Anybody that thinks or believes that he can make impact in government, let the person, somebody who has served, let the person come and give us his scorecard so that we'll begin to listen to him. Anyway, let's move away from that. Time is perishable for us here. The Katsina State government plans to launch literacy classes for repentant bandits as part of its reintegration efforts. Well, according to Hajia Bikisu Mumad Kakai, I almost called her Kaikai, well, that's the executive director of the Agency for Mass Education, said on Sunday that the program will provide both Islamic and Western education to help reform and reintegrate the individuals. The classes will be introduced in phases in collaboration with local government chairmen. The agency has already established 68 new adult education classes in the past 6 months. Either way you look at it, it is good. If these people are repentant, as a matter of fact, the appropriate thing to do is to reintegrate them to society. Give them skills, give them education. But I'm a bit worried. What kind of Islamic education are you giving them? Because these people said Boko Haram, which is Western education, is evil. And you are taking them back to the same Islamic education that they've repented. And all of that. Moses, let us even not go into all this repentant thing, because we know some of them that have repented, reintegrated into our national security agencies, and they end up serving as moles, Absolutely. And our security agencies, security forces are ambushed in the process. We have seen some of them walk away with guns and ammunition belonging to Nigerian government and all of that. So I think we should rethink the whole issue of reintegration. It is not something that we should leave for the state governments alone. The National Security Advisor should be part of it. Unfortunately, we have a National Security Advisor who also has, made some very undiplomatic statements, like coming out to tell us that some of the arms used by these bandits are from the government.
It sounded helpless.
It's helpless. More like he's helpless. So in all of this, I think what we should do is to filter the kind of people we integrate. Meanwhile, these are people that have killed fellow Nigerians who should actually be prosecuted. But on the other hand, we are reintegrating them, teaching them, and we think we can never make progress on this issue of insecurity. I doubt that if this is a track we can follow. Honestly, we should have a full rethinking of this process.
The only part that got my attention actually was when she called on the National Assembly members. Yes, she called the National Assembly members to provide some percentage of their constituency allowance for running of this adult education, for the inmates who have passed through the de-radicalization process. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, now let's see how it's going to happen. Because we know that the National Assembly members, some of them actually are not even telling Nigerians how much they are getting, as is their constituency allowance and all that, and what they are using the money for. I believe that actually, if they are going to be able to bring out some percentage of that money to sponsor the adult education, especially in Katsina State at this point in time, I think it will help reduce the issue of giving one tube or one tire, motorcycle to a constituent, and then also buying pots without rice and all that, by getting poll for persons who must have been killed by bandits, for easy access to the Ahmadiyya and all that. Now, I believe that if they are to bring out that money, it's going to help out in one way. Then secondly, if we're going for adult education for 68 persons, just the way she pointed out, and we have this particular one to be done in collaboration with the local government chairman and other elected officials and all that, then what happened? What were these people being open to while they were passing through the de-radicalization process in the camp? They must have been tutored in one way or the other. What were they learning? During the process, they say that they are going to be they're passing through the process of de-radicalization. That is one. Secondly, now these pieces that we Nigerians are going to see through, because it is our taxpayers' money now that the National Assembly members will bring us some percentage of it. Even the FAC allocation being given to state too happens to come from the coffers of Nigeria as a nation, taxpayers' money and all that, and even the borrowing money too that we have. Even some that we got from the revenue generation. Now, how sure and how certain are we that these persons now will be able to be obedient to the point that we're going, because her aim is to take them through university for them to bag a degree. That is one. And the second notion, Nigerians who are not bandits are expected to go borrow loan from the NEL fund, see themselves through school, and then pay back this particular money or these monies after 2 years of graduation or thereabout, or they'll face penalty. But persons who are repented Boko Haram members or bandits, as the case may be, will now, get free education from what she pointed out to university level, bagging a degree. And isn't that more like telling Nigerians that, you shouldn't just be sane at this point in time? You should find a way to identify which one, maybe Lakurawa or the Mamuda, or join Torj Barrow's camp. And when you think you're no longer benefiting from that, you can raise up your hand and say, I've surrendered, and now I'm a repentant Boko Haram member, and then they will see you through school, and then you bag a degree. Nigerians, we are bigger than this, or better off than this. It is enough insult to Nigerians that persons who are wielding cash of arms, who have killed Nigerians, who have even killed soldiers, who are there to protect lives, now are being reintegrated back into the society, being clothed, being fed well, being placed under stipends, or, as the case may be. And the Nigerians who are being patriotic, who understands that pulling on or going out to kill another person is not the way forward, are the ones suffering it, and bandits are living larger than life. Man, we should look more into this and know how to, navigate all these things without making it look like we're more like a joke, because this shows more that we're not even ready to fight insecurity if some persons are benefiting from it at this point in time.
Oh, well, a lot has been said already, but I would like to go the way of, I'd like to look at some statistics from a journal, Zagazola. That's a security journal, and, they talked about some of these people who were forced into joining insurgency, and, what happens when they leave. Some of them want to leave. Some of them don't even want to leave. Some of them were forced into it, but they had a better life. They had a situation where some of the women got married to, high-ranking officials in the insurgents group, and they had some preferences. They had people at their beck and call. They had food supply given to them freely and all of that. So when you capture them, because some of these people that are repentant were captured, not many of them submitted themselves. For when you capture them, you now put them under a scheme. How many of them really want to stay with you? How many of them want to go back? And then when they go back to their communities and they see their former allies come to attack, don't you think they will join? Who wants to be on the weaker end? I don't think anybody wants to be at the receiving end of such action. They would always want to go back. Now, for those that were forced into it, and would rather stay away. Now, we should have a proper way of discerning which is which, and those who have lost, whatever, and were forced into such action can be reintegrated. I think government should reconsider its kinetic and non-kinetic approach in solving this problem, because I do believe that when one tastes power, it's really difficult to take it away from them or prevent them from going back. When you have a situation where you have controlled people, you've told people to move and they do your bidding, and all of a sudden you're no longer there, you will always want to have that power back. So we should reconsider what we do. Educating them, that's if truly you know that these ones, got themselves into it not willingly and have not had any connection or don't want to stay with their former oppressors, as it were, then they can get some sort of reprieve and get some sort of education if they want to. But I don't think it should be a general thing, because it's annoying to think that some of us will have our parts of Nigeria's resources put into educating those that have caused us tears and sorrows. No, I don't think that's the way to go. But there's another story here that we'll also need to touch on before we run out of time. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has suspended its planned prayer and fasting sessions aimed at addressing Nigeria's hunger crisis. Now, they say this decision comes just days after an internal circular called on staff to participate in a spiritual program titled Divine Intervention for Protection and National Development, scheduled for June 16, today actually. It was supposed to be June 16, June 23, and June 30. Now, they were supposed to fast and pray for the nation, for crops to grow, I think. Now, the move sparked backlash and media scrutiny, prompting the ministry to halt the initiative. Well, they have explained that it wasn't because, that the fasting was not because, in fact, the explanation is such that you would find it distasteful. But the thought of it alone, thinking about fasting, and they say it's not a policy. Yes, they said it's not a policy of the ministry. It's just, praying that crops will grow and all of that. There's a law of nature. There's a law of sowing and reaping. When you plant, it is watered and it grows. If you don't plant, nothing will grow. If you plant and it is destroyed, nothing will grow. Let us use our senses and act like human beings in this country. No, we should not use religion to keep people in chains. Don't tell people fast and pray for agriculture, for crops to grow. No, now.
Why are you sounding like this?
How am I sounding?
Why are you sounding like this? It's very simple.
Why?
It's very simple. They have a plan. They have a plan.
Oh my
As
God.
the ministry has cancelled this, they should also, the only thing I have to say is that let them come and tell us how much was earmarked for that prayer, for the fasting. That's all.
For the breaking of the fast.
That's the plan. Anything beyond that is nothing. It's just that's just the plan. So they should come out and tell us how much that was earmarked for that program. That's all I have to say.
Exactly. And if they have returned the money back again to the purse of the ministry, that's also another. But anyway, on a more serious note, this is not the first time something like this is coming up. Recall when someone was telling Nigeria, somebody who've entrusted the power of this thing to help make sure that the issue of security in Nigeria, is being restored, and insecurity will become a thing of the past, coming up to tell us that it is God that will judge the persons who are giving arms to, or who are selling our arms now to bandits. And here, he could not do anything about that. They couldn't do anything to stop the issue of insecurity bedeviling the nation. They couldn't do anything to stop a single man, Tor Jubera, and his team, and even the one, requesting for levy or taxing the persons of Benue State, to desist from what they were doing. But they were telling God to intervene at this point in time, and heaven help those that help themselves. Now, bringing it back to this particular call, I was expecting them also to fast and pray, so that farmers will be able to go to farmland, Because we know that farmers are not in farmlands. They are in IDP camps. Even the president also said something to that regard when he went for a summit in Brazil. So after praying for and fasting for farmers to go to farmlands too, they will now also pray that, you know, the issue of whether a dam was being released or not, I'm talking about flooding now, will not occur again, so that the things that people have planted will still be there. Like Moses already pointed out, and also the marauding herders too, they will pray and fast that God will cover their eyes from entering farmlands and destroying crops or another person's means of livelihood. Nigeria would have been a greater nation than this because we were being blessed with a whole lot of things. But the fact that the persons that happen to be within the corridors of power are seeing us to be a different thing, my dear, we're going to be experiencing such, especially at this point in time. And might even see worse when it comes towards the election period, which will be in 2027. God help Nigeria. We'll go on a quick break because I don't think we'll go on a quick break more.
No, let's just run into it. We have the papers in front of us. We'll just touch on a few, right, and then we'll do more analysis from 10 o'clock. That's during newspaper review proper. But from a few of them have these advertorial. This Abuja 17-day commissioning. It's going to be, it's really taking up space in the papers. We're pushing very important issues to the inner pages of the papers and then advertising, commissioning of projects. Anyway, Nigerian Tribune has some headlines there, the cover page, some of the window headlines. Dangote Refinery set to revolutionize distribution with rollout of 4,000 CNG tankers. Interesting conversation around what Dangote Refinery is doing. Jail June 12 saboteurs, Reform Electoral Act now, Serap tells Tinubu. Serap, I'll say it again. Lagos kicks off implementation of e-call-up enforcement on Lekki Ekpe. All right then. And the big story there, Benue killings. This is genocide. We are no longer safe in our homes. I'm reading from the Nigerian News Direct, not the Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian News Direct. Let's have that paper up on the screen. And the writers to that headline, Pope Leo, Atiku, Obi condemns silence, demand justice. Enough is enough, Tinubu. And then APC Northeast Convention ends in chaos as stakeholders decry Shetima omission in 2027 endorsement. NDLEA intercepts 1.1 billion naira shipment of codeine, 53 wraps of cocaine in Rivers. I mean, these things are, it's a market here because some of these guys that are perpetrating these killings, this is what they take. They don't do this with their clear eyes. They get intoxicated. Anyway, we'll talk about that in the course of the program. Well, those are the headlines from Nigerian News Direct.
Up next is the First News newspaper, and beside the masthead, Benue massacre, Pope Leo condemns killings, prays for peace, justice. First News newspaper, and beneath the masthead, Ogoni rejects Tinubu's pardon for Sarawiwa. We want exoneration, not forgiveness. Lagos moves to tame Lekki Ebe gridlock with e-call-up for trucks. Dangote starts national petrol supply August 15 with credit bait. Photos, wanted bandit Aleru holds peace talk with army locals. The banner headline, tears in Yeliwata, Very Dark Man's emotional plea ends Benue blockade. Tinubu endorsement turns chaotic at APC North-East Summit over Shetima snub. Trump warns of massive U.S. retaliation if Iran strikes. And the bottom strip headline, Nigerian medic loses UK job after inappropriate case. Those are the headlines on the cover page of the First News newspaper today. Okay, let's quickly run through the New Telegraph with the headlines. Nigeria's exports to African countries up 18.8% to 10.99 trillion naira. PMS, marketers boycott product loading over e-call-up crisis. And the window headlines, that's the New Telegraph. The window headlines, Senate marks midterm, prioritizes electoral reforms ahead 2027. Men need enabling environments to function effectively as fathers. That's coming from Oluremi Tinubu, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Aircraft scarcity, Nigerian Airlines' biggest challenge, Okonkwo, as unfulfilled orders for new aircraft hit 17,000. That's coming from IATA. Report, Trump vetoed Israel plan to kill Iran's supreme leader. Now the big story. Delegates disrupt Northeast APC summit as leaders endorse Tinubu, ignore Shetima. Tinubu Oborowoyi Nwoko gets Delta North APC's nod as Kaduna backs President Oba Sani get. And more stories there. Amuka Oshoba Ugochukwu Obaibena Momo lead editors to Enugu as 400 editors converge on Coal City for Nigerian Guild of Editors Biennial Convention. Dangote Refinery to begin distribution of fuel, diesel nationwide. Another bold headline, ECOWAS at crossroads, facing existential crisis, Chintichibida. Benue attacks, police tear gas shoots, very dark man protesting latest killings. Woman loses 5 kids, murder to Yelwater killings. Poplio prays for Nigeria. Tinubu renews order for security chiefs to restore peace. And the bottom strip headline is 2 hours of scrolling on phone can raise depression risk. That's according to a study. That's how far, that's all from the New Telegraph newspaper. And that's how far we can go on newspaper headlines this morning. And now, all right.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll be talking about the killings in Benue State and what should be done, what has been done. Let's x-ray all of it when we come back from this break. Join us again.
Tips.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
We are the station that brings you stories from the people's perspective.
We'll let your voice be heard. On Political Lens, we'll bring you deeper insights into happenings within the polity.
We create equality of representative opinion and fairness in politics, economic and diverse conversations.
Here we bring you breaking news, fresh perspectives, as well as fact-based analysis.
Well, thanks for joining us again. Now, let's get into this conversation now. Police in Makurdi, Benue State, fired tear gas to disperse protesters demanding action over recent deadly attacks in Guma and Makurdi LGAs, where over 200 people, including women, children, in IDP camps, and 5 security personnel were reportedly killed by suspected terrorist headsmen. The protest, held under the hashtag Stop Benue Killings, drew a large crowd. Commissioner of Police Emenari Ifeanyi addressed demonstrators, urging calm and warning that extended protests could hinder security operations. Now, despite the appeal, security agents dispersed the crowd with tear gas, prompting public outrage, as videos showed canisters being fired and a helicopter hovering over the protest site. Now, in another video that was made available to VOP television this morning, we could see cows being escorted by government vehicles. Yes, you can see that video on the screen. Now, this is an amateur video, and I would let you listen to the voice in the background before we get into the conversation.
Cows in Makurdi. Imagine. What nonsense. Sister, look at cows in Makurdi. Benue State government is escorting the Makurdi capital. Sister, look. Oh my God. Can you imagine this?
There you have it. There you have it. Cows being escorted. There was another video done by a very dark man, a content creator. He did, went to the scene of the disaster where people were killed, and then he showed charred bodies of children. We hear that over 100, in fact, from the video that Very Dark Man put out there, in one room, there were 30 charred bodies. In another room, 45 charred bodies. And then other places. So by my calculation, I think if we go by everything that went on, it would be more than 100 killed in Benue State, Yelawata, and the other communities there. But we have with us in the studio to help make sense of all of this, we have Barrister Darlington Agumo. He joins this conversation. We also have Mr. Akin Fatunke, who is a political analyst and a public affairs commentator, a communications expert. Well, gentlemen, good morning to you. Thank you for joining.
Good morning.
Good morning. And good morning, our listeners.
Good morning, Barrister. Good to have you.
Yeah.
Now, may I start by saying that the president put out a speech yesterday, put out a message, I beg your pardon, not a speech, put out a message yesterday evening, that special forces have been sent to Benue. But part of the speech that the president wrote, those that fact check some of these things went through it and said, look, the speech is about 73% AI generated. Now, the president's speech also coming after this event happened over the weekend, which Friday, Saturday. The president's speech came up yesterday, which was after Pope Leo the 14th, spoke about, condemned the killings in Benue. Isn't it concerning that it feels like our political leaders care little about what is going on, how Nigerians feel? I would like Mr. Akin Fatuke to help me make sense of all of this. What are your thoughts in this regard? Is it that the president is not aware? And let's not forget that very recently, the chief of army staff, was moved into Benue to ensure that insecurity that is being perpetrated there is nipped in the bud. But we've seen an escalation of insecurity. And now with special a team of special forces are being sent there. Would they do anything different? Help me make sense of it.
Thank you very much, Moses. Once again, good morning, Nigerians. My heart bleeds. A certain numbness dulls my sense. I will stop at that, just trying to parrot Ode to Nightingale by the young ebullient Keats.
William Keats.
Moses, I am brewing inside, and hopefully I'll be speaking the minds of people who have blood running through their veins. I am bleeding inside and I am very unhappy. I've been around, I'm sure my fellow analysts here, the barrister too, if not all of us sitting on this table, have been around for quite a while where we had seen terrible things happen to our country. Is it the Ken Saro-Wiwa killing that brought a dark spot to Nigeria? November 10 in year 2005 or thereabout? Is it the Chibok? Is it the Dapchi? Is it the Buniyadi? Is it the massacre that we had in the plateau that's continuing up till now? And then this. For me, one thing, I am 110%, so let's assume you've spoken 10% in your intro in terms of introducing the negatives that we are seeing, blood all over. I am saying 110% are in agreement with you. This is part of Nigeria's saddest hour. And in putting it in context, it is not lost on me, your statement, that Mr. President, the chief samurai, take it or leave it, buck stops on his table, has not done well, could not have done well, irrespective. And given certain things that I do not know now, but I just know my blood is flowing and I'm bleeding. Mr. President has not done well, coming some 48 hours. It therefore tells me that even if I wanted to give a benefit of doubt, Mr. President, Ahmed Bola Tinubu is not on top of this game now. I will not go into the AI thing. I will go into the message, which grieved me more. Moses, why? Yes, we had a lot of these things going on. And what I thought I read from the message, I hope I read right, was Mr. President now speaking down
on the governor,
on Reverend Hyacinth Alia, that he should,
reconcile and step up to the plate. Sorry, Mr. President. You could not have said that. And even if you did, you've gotten it wrong. Worst case, after too little, too late, like Bismarck would have said, in that speech coming, then I started seeing again, left hand, right hand, all coming together to speak a particular language. And I'm seeing the police coming out to say they are quelling protests. I came to one
inescapable conclusion. I think what is happening in Benue State and perhaps Plateau and the Middle Belt is that the government of the day has their hands, their legs, all enmeshed in what we are calling headers. You can call it whatever it is.
All right.
Government
let's bring Barrister.
Very much into it, which is most unfortunate.
Let's bring Barrister into it. Barrister, you might react to the aspect of the number one man, what's his speech, his statement, and all of that. But I would also like you to X-ray the governor himself, Hyacinth Alia. He did say that they have intel. Some of this intel comes to them. In fact, some of the intel, well, this one not by the governor himself, but it's out there. So if it's out there, we know that security agents also have it, that at a certain time over the weekend, herdsmen were seen crossing River Benue into Nasarawa in droves, and they lost their cows in the process. And one of the boat owners helping them to cross was approached by a Nigerian, and he asked, why do we have this number of people crossing at this time? And he said, look, it speaks of imminent attack. Whenever they cross over like this in numbers, it shows there's going to be an attack. Now, for that information to be out there, and the governor did say, yes, we have credible intel, but nothing is done with the intel. Rather, we are having protesters that are protesting the killings of their brothers and sisters being dispersed with tear gas. So they go home with itchy eyes and the rest. Barrister, please, shouldn't the governor reconcile whatever? Shouldn't the governor do a whole lot more than tell us that he has credible intel?
Thank you, Moses. Please, what can the governor do? Who is the chief commander-in-chief, and that is the person in charge of security in the whole of Nigeria? Commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Nigeria, who? No security agent can be deployed anywhere without Tinubu says so. Please, people should leave the governor alone. He is powerless. He can't do anything. Tinubu should do his responsibility and stop shipping it to other people. When we came and Fubara, we are quarreling in river. Did anybody tell Tinubu to impose state of emergency? Why didn't Tinubu say, Fubara, okay, go and look into that matter, settle it. Even when the man was trying to settle the matter, Tinubu wouldn't have it. Now look at what's going on in Benue. And he's now calling on the governor. Look at hypocrisy here. Moses, look at, with all this performance of Tinubu, I can no longer believe that the federal government hand is not what's going on in Benue State. And in fact, in all over the country. I am telling you, nobody can exonerate the federal government of from Buhari to Tinubu. It's like there is something they entered into. And that will not be far from bloodbath. How can the federal government just be looking? Terrorists from other countries, not even Nigerians, because they have confirmed that these people are not Nigerians. So, what is your own government doing, for God's sake? Those who didn't know what happened in 1967, right. Look at it happen. Look at it now. Look at it, stand out in the face.
Barrister, I like the fact that you mentioned Buhari in this thing. So practically, it's more like what started from the Buhari era is continuing.
I'm telling you, yes.
So there is no break. But let's go back to the purported statement put out by the president himself, because it's coming from an official bat, and it says, I have been briefed on the senseless bloodletting in Benue State. And it goes on to say, enough is enough. Enough is enough means this is not the first time that the president is getting to hear about it.
You have said it severally.
And he also says, I have directed the security agencies to act decisively, arrest perpetrators of this evil act on all sides of the conflict.
Good.
So the president clearly understands that there is an ongoing conflict based on the statement put out here, except of the statement. Barrister, does it look like the president is hamstrung and that he's buck passing? He's trying to scapegoat the governor.
No.
Does it look like, because if we understand that this thing started from the Buhari regime and Well, he said that he was going to continue from where Buhari stopped.
Exactly.
So does it look like his hands are tied? Because we see this thing happen from a particular group of people, and we all know what is going on now. They gang up against the president. Is he trying to play ball? Are we back to the Jonathan era and all of this? Barrister, can you help us untie some of these contradictions?
Yes, what I can read for what is going on is that there is a secrecy around this thing. This woman, Bloodbath, there is a secrecy around it. I don't know whether it is an oath or whatever that a government will allow his people to be slaughtered like this on several occasions, only for them to make statements. Can you compare what is going on in Benue and what happened in River that he imposed the state of emergency?
No, Barrister.
Those people that supported those state of emergency, where are they now? Where are they?
Now, Barrister, I would like to get your opinion on this one. You know, we're talking about reconciliation on this tape. What is even there to reconcile? You know, Nigeria as a nation, we have not worked, not have any reason to say that cattle rallying now is a major source of revenue generation in this country. We haven't heard anything about that, and we don't know whether is cattle rallying now a national, a national business that now generates revenue for us, that we have to find a way to give lands to cattle rallying. Remember, what are we reconciling?
Please remember that Tinubu said he will settle this matter, and he created a cattle ranch or whatever. Even created a ministry headed by Jega. Is that not true? Please, my people, what happened to that ministry that Tinubu created? I told you here when he said that, I said, this thing will not resolve this matter because that is not the core of the matter. There is something these people are looking for. It's not your ranch. I said it here, Because people say, you don't only believe in Tinubu, you don't believe in AP, I know these people, they are playing pranks with us. There is no sincerity in whatever they are doing. What happened to that thing that Tinubu created to settle this matter? He's not even talking about it again. And when he did that, I told everybody who cared to listen that this will not solve the problem. Tinubu and Buhari knows what they did. They know what they are doing. This bloodbath cannot be for nothing. They should explain to us why they should allow Nigerian blood to be wasted in this manner. They should tell us. Because I don't see why this should continue from where Buhari stopped to where Tinubu is now. Right. And you say you have a president who will always come and tell us, we have already stopped insecurity. We have depleted Boko Haram, this and that.
All right,
and you know, just lip service. Look, I have said it here. Anybody who didn't know what happened in 1967 that caused the war, look at it now.
Okay, Barrister.
Look at it. After all, Babangida said it in his book, that when Gowon could not stop the killing of the Igbos, that was what caused the war, the Biafran war. Look at it happening again. Look at it. Look at it happening again. Right, how can you continue to massacre people in this manner and you want them to fold their... The day these people rise up now, you will see. The narrative will change.
Let me bring it to you now, Mr. Akinfatinke. We learned that the persons who were protesting the killings in their state, the fact that their brothers, their sisters, their children, their wives are being killed, were being dispersed using tear gas and all that. And one of the reasons for that was that they told them that they should go back to their homes, that everything is under control, saying that the IG is now on top of this particular case, and the governor of the state, Alia himself, have provided the security personnel with all that they needed, including logistics and everything. Like my colleague Moses rightly pointed out, we learned also that the Chief of Army Staff said he's moving his base to Benue State to help end the issue of killings that is happening in that state. Now, the Pope have talked about this killing. Alias said it's more like genocide. Some persons also have come up to say that this is more like ethnic cleansing. Some people are trying to take over the land belonging to Nigerians, and no one is doing anything or doing more enough to make sure it's being curbed. Nigeria is moving already to that particular position where everybody is scared of becoming a country of particular concern, CPC. If this actually happened, Mr. Akin, where are we going to find ourselves? Remember that we're still seeking for foreign direct investment and all that, especially in this present administration, is also more of our mantra. Where then lies Nigeria in the international space?
I think it's a woeful outlook, no doubt about that. And like I said, complete failure of government. I will not box myself into limiting this to Buhari, Tinubu. I think it's gone beyond Buhari, Tinubu. We've had slaughters, we've had this in governments before, in regimes before these two gentlemen. It's not taking them out of it. I think I will always remember my history. When I keep on saying that part of our problems is that we are different in all respects and that we've not been able to resolve the leadership question. I remember Gumi, the father of the Gumi that we all know at this particular time, had vowed at one point in time through their quote-unquote jihadists that they were going to take the Quran from the Sahel in the north of Nigeria to dip it in the Atlantic Ocean. I am convinced that government, the people, terrorists, and that Nigeria is being invaded with a target in the Benue and Plateau, and perhaps will now extend to the rest of Nigeria.
Under whose watch? Obasanjo was in government between 1999 and 2007. Can you tell us, do you know the number of Nigerians that were slaughtered in cold blood?
Oh, no.
Under Buhari alone, the Punch newspaper in the editorial reported that 63,318 Nigerians were killed in the 8 years.
So what's your point?
So my point is now is that if you say that, look, that Gumi said that they were trying to dip the Quran into the ocean, at what point did this agenda manifest? Because we didn't clearly see it during the Obasanjo regime. We didn't see it under Yar'Adua. We didn't see it under Jonathan.
Okay.
When Jonathan made efforts to stop, we had the same people now say, look, you people are killing my people.
What I am saying,
okay,
and I am clear, and this is what I started by saying, that the present government led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu has failed woefully. I'm sure you heard that. But when Dan asked me that, what do I think? And I said, look, I'm going to have to extend it. If you said you didn't see it during Obasanjo, yes, in this kind of quantum. If you said you didn't see it under Yar'Adua or Jonathan, under this kind of quantum, I am tracing back to tell you and to tell Nigeria by conviction that we are being attacked seriously, like it started then, and gruesomely now, because some terrorists have decided that they were going to try and seize land that does not belong to them.
Are we going to attribute this particular attack or this particular killings to the issue that we have, or to the fact that we have Muslim ticket? Recall that Obasanjo made a statement in 2022 saying there's a part, there is also a call for total Islamization of Nigeria as a nation. Is that where we are getting to at this point in time? Recall the Muslim ticket that also surfaced, and it happened at this point in time, and yet the killings also are happening. No one is saying anything about that. People are saying, don't point your finger to a particular ethnic group or a particular people. Don't stereotype the killings. But we see it also play out and all that. Is that what we're getting to at this point in time?
What is happening is that you are shifting to even agree with some of the things I am saying in terms of my disagreement that it is the Muslim ticket thing. No, it cannot be, because Muslims have also been slaughtered. Christians are being slaughtered. Those who are not aligned are being slaughtered. And I'm telling you, this problem goes a bit much deeper, and it is about land acquisition and about terrorists that our flanks have opened. And this is where I will agree with Chukuma, that I know that during Buhari's regime, allegedly, we opened our flanks. And people started using the words that our cousins in Futajalon and all that, which again does not help the issue. So I do not think, I'm not convinced that it has something to do with the Muslim tickets.
Okay,
because Muslims are being killed as much as Christians are being killed.
We are running out of time.
Okay.
During the Buhari regime, we had the impression that all the security architecture were, the head of all of them were domiciled in the north. You know, but now at least it's 50-50 more like the north and the south. So could you hazard a guess as to why the problem persists? Because the president was like, look, when I come in, I'm going to battle insecurity and all of that. And we have the National Security Advisor from the north. We have the Minister of Defense from the north, Minister of State for Defense from the north. But we have the Chief of Army Staff, who is from the west. We have the Chief of Navy Staff from the east, and all of that. So more like 50-50. So why is it that these problems persist? Does it look like there is a pact, like Barrister Darlington said? Is there a pact or what? Why is the president hamstrung? Does it look like there is something he cannot untie in this insecurity?
And I will just extend it further. Make all the security chiefs Christians. Make all of them Christians. This will not stop.
Why?
Wait. Make all the security chiefs Muslims. This will not stop. Why? Because we have a deep-rooted agenda that goes beyond you asking military to come into it. And he was talking about Aliyah being helpless. It goes beyond all that. The agenda to come and capture lands that do not belong to you, whether you set up livestock ministry or not, is constant. Finally, during Jonathan's time, to buttress what I'm trying to say, and hopefully we'll be able to arrest you, during Jonathan's time, we had a military sir that was doing all the things that needed to be done, was going and then was decimating, was asked to stop by a southern president because of this deep-seated thing. We had issues that, who are we? Let's do a population census. We had somebody from a particular part of the south, he was making a lot of inroads. Certain people from other areas say, look, hey, Jonathan, you've got to remove this guy. So I am saying the problems we have in Nigeria, we are different tribes, we are different tongues, the military has been decimated, take it or leave it. Carrot and kinetic is failed. We must get to the roots of looking at it, and I've just told you that. Look, right now, the chief samurai on the desk now is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We must restructure Nigeria. We must face the fact that Nigeria is not working. Conglomerate, we are not working. Well, and it does not matter who comes in to lead the country.
That sounds a lot like your concluding thoughts.
Yes.
Okay. No. Well, Barrister, of course, I know you have a lot to say, but I also have questions to ask. I hope you can help me unbundle a few of them, along with what you already have in mind to add. Okay. Some days back, also, just after this incident, I think on Sunday, there was a report that about 33 persons were brought in 2 buses to Makurdi, the capital of Benue State, and they were to lodge in a hotel. And intelligence reports, government agencies, the security agencies ran to the point and discovered that these individuals were brought in by a non-governmental organization, an NGO, that was just registered in May. And these people could not even say why they were brought in there because they couldn't even speak English. They couldn't communicate properly. Barrister, help us understand what is going on. And I hope I can, I hope you can put all of this together. Because we're running out of time, I'm just trying to lump everything together. The president not visiting some of these areas where Nigerians have been killed. In Mokwa, Nigerians were killed. The president didn't go there. In Benue, Nigerians have been killed. The president hasn't gone there. In Plateau, Nigerians have been killed. The president hasn't gone there. Barrister, please, shouldn't the president be on ground? Will that boost confidence? Will that boost the military confidence? Will that boost confidence of Nigerians?
Good. All these questions are left to those who are supporting Tinubu. In fact, those who want to re-elect him. Moses, these questions are left to those who want to re-elect Tinubu in 2027. You can see incompetence powerlessness, and you want to re-elect the same thing, and you want Nigeria to move forward, it can never happen. What you are asking me now, what you are saying now, have you asked yourself why those people that we know that their names are given to us that are sponsoring this terrorism, why they can never be prosecuted? Have you asked yourself that question?
Help us understand why.
Yes, because there's a conspiracy between government and these people. Simple thing. That is why from Buhari to Tinubu, they have kept a deaf ear over clamor to prosecute it because they are the one fueling this thing. You just told me that how some people were brought from somewhere. Who finance their transportation?
An NGO.
That NGO, go and look who is behind it. They can come through different means, but they are aiming at the same word, to the same purpose. An NGO, who is sponsoring the NGO? Who? Nobody will identify them, even if they are known. Nobody. I am telling you that you see this thing that we are talking and joking with. The day it will boomerang, no government can handle it.
Sir, are you aware that Ado Alero, who is a bandit kingpin, held a peace talk, a peace meeting in Katsina State?
Of course.
And in that meeting, security agencies were there.
We are there.
But he's on their wanted list.
I am telling you. Just imagine how this thing is being treated. I don't even know how to describe what is going on. It's like when Tro Jubele was turban somewhere some time ago. Security agents were there. Government officials were there.
What does this say about the government itself?
And that's why we are telling you now that government is involved in this thing.
So what should Nigerians now do? Because the people are saying, look, empower us to defend ourselves. What should Nigerians do in this regard?
You see, that is, in fact, this is the litmus test for all those Nigerians who want to re-elect Tinubu. With what is going on now, is this man capable of defending you? This is the question you should ask yourself. Or are you waiting until this thing now come to your own house over here? You think when they finish with Benue, they will stop, Abi? No. No. They will continue with what they are doing, making inroads. Maybe when it comes over here now, these people that are supporting Tinubu, their amount will now change. That is when they will not speak up. Now they are keeping quiet too. We are the only enemy Tinubu have. Because we are telling him do the right thing. By the time it will get to their own house now, Moses, you will see. I pray it will not be too late. Because when you kill one Nigerian somewhere, you have killed all of us. Most of these are terrorists from other places that we don't know where they are coming from. Who opened our border for them? Who opened? Under whose watch did this thing escalate to this level? Jonathan, he did everything to stop this menace. The northern leader kicked against it. I was thinking Buhari, they said yes, he's an army general. He will do this, he will do that. We watched him for 8 years, allowing these people to do whatever they are doing. Under his watch, some northern leader went all over Africa and said, come into Nigeria. Right, jihad have started.
All right, we're running.
Nobody was prosecuted, the Moses. The people that came out in the open and said, come now, we are reported terrorists. Nobody, you are known.
Barrister, I was hoping you will help me with under the law, what Nigerians can do.
What can Nigerians do?
Yes, Nigerians, the populace, under the law.
You see, there is what we call a people's action. When that people's action will happen, I don't even know. It may happen like just a happenstance. Before you know it, there will be a conflagration. That is why we are shouting now, Tinubu, stop this thing, It's not everybody that will tolerate this killing, so I am telling you, there is a region that will go and do this type of thing, war will break out. You heard what Babangida wrote in his book, that what caused the civil war was when Gowon could not stop the killing of the Igbos. The book is there as a lesson for everybody, yet nobody is learning anything. Are you telling me that there is a certain group where you go to, or region, and you are killing them in this mass number, and they will fold their arms? They will not go and carry arms and start shooting everybody on sight. This thing is a very bad precedent that people are setting. What kind of rubbish is this? Every day, Benue. What exactly do they want in Benue? You mean when we give them Benue, there will be peace or what? No, they will continue.
All right, then.
That's why you must stop them.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister Darlington. We've extended this conversation. Let's move away from this to another conversation now. Staying within the political space. Outrage as Ganduje, APC Northeast chairman, endorsed Tinubu, ignores Shetima. In fact, there was fisticuffs at that meeting. Oh well, let's talk about this when we come back. Join us again.
Yes, they have started.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday. Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Everybody keep watching Voice of the People. All right? Love you all.
Hello, sweetie. What's going on? My name is Keith. Keep watching.
Thank you so much for staying with us. It's still VOP this morning. A major uproar erupted at the All Progressives Congress APC Northeast Stakeholders Meeting held in Gombe State on Sunday after key party leaders, including National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje and Northeast Vice Chairman Comrade Mustafa Saliu, endorsed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for a second term, but failed to mention Vice President Kashim Shettima, who hails from the region. Saliu's omission sparked immediate anger from delegates, with some threatening violence. Security operatives had to escort him out of the venue. Tensions rose further when Ganduje, in a speech, also left out Shettima's name, leading to another wave of protest and his eventual exit under security escort. We still have with us in the studio Mr. Akin Fatunke, who is a communication consultant and arbitrator, still here with us in the studio. And we'll be going to Benin, where we'll have Mr. Williams Idia, who is a public affairs analyst and political commentator, also join us to help dissect today's topic. And Chief Dr. Emmanuel Irayanema, who is a socio-political commentator and advocate of good governance, will join us from Port Harcourt. Thank you so much, Mr. Akin, for being here.
Thank you.
All right, Chief Dr. Emmanuel Irayanema, good morning. Good to have you join today's conversation. Mr. Williams, good to have you join today's conversation. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Good to have you.
Yeah.
Now, let me start off with you. Now, looking at this particular this topic that we're looking at with the secting, just on the 12th of June, 2025, the president made a statement that he is pleased that opposition parties are in disarray, especially the PDP and LP, if I'm to go to that direction. Now that we're seeing something playing out in APC, especially in the Northeast, where the vice chairman, Comrade Mustafa Saliu, and even the national chairman of APC, Ganduje, were being escorted out by security operatives. We saw cheers, we saw persons also, even fist cuffs also happened during that particular meeting over the fact that a particular individual's name was omitted during the endorsement party. What do you really have to say about this? Are we seeing an implosion of APC at this point in time? Would the president be able to, handle this one coming from the Northeast, where we know the vice president come from? Help us actually, navigate this.
Yeah, they actually say the proverb that when you point one finger to somebody in accusation, you should remember that the many four are pointing back at you. You understand? So pointing fingers to opposition parties, June 12th, that day special that was supposed to deliver a very overwhelming and inclusive speech for Nigerians. You're throwing jab at opposition party. Now, a few days later, this is what is happening. A leader of the Northeast, vice president, because he's the leader of Northeast as the vice president of Nigeria, and his name be omitted in an all-inclusive meeting, because that is a very inclusive meeting that is supposed to be well organized and coordinated about the situation arising, that fighting and all that. It means that there's something actually playing in the background that we will get to know as time progresses, because you cannot tell me you are endorsing a party's flag bearers and there's somebody there as a vice president. You're supposed to mention his name, so why are you omitting his name? So I think that is a very serious, probably this has been going on, they've been managing it for, but now it's not out, so it means definitely we'll be seeing different issues. But the vice president, I don't think he has responded, because I've been wondering where has he been over the time. In fact, there was a time that he was expecting to preside over a very important meeting, but I think somebody was sent there. If it was the vice president's son, the president's son that was sent there to preside over that meeting. You see, it means there's something going on that Nigeria needs to know. Because this is not the Shetima. When we were campaigning, we saw how vocal he was. A lot of things that I said he was going to do. He was going to, in fact, the way they presented, he was going to be probably the face of the government in economic policies, security, and all that. But
does the position of a vice president in Nigeria, is it as strong? Does it have any value? Some people have come up to say it's more like a ceremonial position whereby the person is just there. That's on one point. Now, is there anything so important, holding that particular position as a vice president of Nigeria, from to ask? And is there any way it's been written that the president must have his, the vice president whom he ran with previously to still be the person that is to go again for, if there'll be possibility for another re-election?
These are two major issues. First of all, he, as the vice president, their offices are located to him that he's supposed to preside over, being the vice president. We've seen that over time. Even during the Jonathan administration, the vice president was in charge of economic policy, economic committee and all that. And that's a very sensitive office. And then going by the constitution, when the president is not around or the president is incapacitated, he is supposed to take over immediately to preside over the affairs of the nation. Now, let's be points when he traveled. The president traveled for some weeks. Was the vice president acting? Was he the power transferred to him to preside over government or official duties while the president was away? No, there was nothing done. But what we are seeing was people being sent to go and represent the president in places where the vice president is supposed to be as being the acting president, because that is what the constitution says. Now it means the office being the ceremonial position means that the president has the right to ride over, even when the constitution has already backed you that some certain time you're supposed to preside over a government.
All right, Mr. Idea, thanks very much for your incisive thought. Please do step back with us, because we'll come back to you in the course of this program. Let's come back to the studio where we still have Mr. Ake Fatuke. Mr. Fatuke, you saw what happened in Jigawa the other day, and it's about endorsing the president and not endorsing him with the vice president. Does it look like there's a crack in the wall? More like, it looks like there's a crack in the wall. And that is one question. Now, on the other hand of it, if you put together everything that is going on, the gang up, by the North. When I say gang up, you see people resigning, Northerners resigning from the president's cabinet, citing the alleged descent to one-party state, and the fact that, look, the North is suffering under this administration and all of that. How do you position all of these things ahead of 2027?
Well, my position will be very simple and commonsensical, my dear friend and brother, and as the politicians know how to do their things. So whether it's the coalition, whether it's alleged one party, whether it's Tinubu, whether it's the deputy, I like to also remind Nigerians under the same constitution, we had a vice president that was almost invariably stronger than the president during the Obasanjo's regime. I do not need to, to repeat Atiku Obasanjo, dying today, fight tomorrow, and what have you. For me, I read the openers, that you mentioned, but something struck me.
Okay.
Whether at the end of the day it's still window dressing or no window dressing, or the fact that there is going to be a deep-seated breakup, notwithstanding, was that I was watching television yesterday, and the Zulum, one way or the other, on the other side, shouted and quelled
Ganduje.
Quelled the crowd.
The crowd, okay.
Quelled the crowd. And I thought I heard Ganduje come back to say it's a joint ticket. Well, it may now be it may not be some kind of afterthought. I believe that at the end of the day, much more than others,
it will be sorted out.
Much more than other parties.
Now, Mr. Akin, does
most
it bother
likely
you?
that it's going to be settled.
Okay, now does it bother you that this is coming? And if you go back in history, I know you like quoting history. If you go back in history, when the president was governor of Lagos State, he had 3 people deputized for him. So does it bother you that this is trying to be a replay at the presidency? And I keep going back to the North. Do you think that the North will take it lying low?
Now, when you say the North, Shetima is a figure in the North.
Okay.
There are other Northerners, like Fina was trying to, put earlier. Is it incumbent on Mr. President that he has to pick this particular Northerner or that particular Northerner? No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be a collective party decision.
What do you think will happen if, the Lagos State? I have another question to ask.
Okay. The Lagos State example that you have given cannot be cut and paste. Lagos State cannot be compared to governing Nigeria, and with all due respect,
Lagos State cannot be governed compared to like governing Nigeria.
Yes, that's what I said.
Really?
Yes.
But we understand that this man built Lagos and he was going to build Nigeria, and that was on the platform that we elevated him.
Okay.
Anyway, so will it bother you if the president takes a Christian Northerner in 2027?
Okay. So quickly, very important,
because we are almost out of time.
You are asking me. My statement was clear. I said governing Lagos State would not be the same yardstick to govern Nigeria.
Okay.
The ability to put vision down in Lagos State can be replicated in Nigeria, which I think the president is doing. So now, do I feel that Mr. President will now decide to pick
a Christian Northerner?
A Christian Northerner.
So what happens if he decides to?
What will not happen? What will have spoiled? I don't know what will have spoiled. Because, one, the recurring decimal is not.
So will it look like the Muslim ticket failed?
No.
And that's why he's going for a Christian Northerner?
No. Now, Winston Churchill said, I love history. Winston Churchill said, yes, I said so yesterday. Yes, that was my strategy at one point in time. I have a right to change my strategy also going forward.
Do you change what is not broken? Do you mend what is not broken?
Because it's not broken.
Yes, do you have to mend it if it's not broken?
Yes. It's called continuous improvement. Nothing is permanent in life. My point to you, therefore, is the mere fact that my belief, like Moses is looking at me biblically, is that I should have one wife, and that's my belief. Next tomorrow, I can decide I'm going to have 2 wives because I don't want Tina's friends who are left out in the cold to be there. So I can make a justification for that. Otherwise,
let's look at
if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Let's look at the bigger picture now.
Yeah.
Even National Assembly members are also complaining about not being given a free pass in 2027.
Right.
So it's not just about the VP now,
Yeah.
the National Assembly members. And not too long ago, the president's attention was called to the fact that the North was aggrieved by positions not coming their way.
Yeah.
And I think Aline Dume pointed that out in an interview. And when the president decided, okay, to appease the North, he had to, put over 20, gave over 20 individuals appointments. And the same Aline Dume, in another interview, was pleased. Do you see the president pleasing these aggrieved parties, and what will that portend for democracy in Nigeria going forward if he decides to please all aggrieved parties, so he's not given a tough time in 2027? What will that portend for Nigeria?
Bring an angel. It is not possible for any human being, even if you turn it to being an angel, to be able to please everybody.
The president seems to be doing a good job at that.
No, he's trying to balance. And the Ali Ndume that you mentioned as crying foul, also cry foul when reforms that are going to be very positive in the CBN, and we later found out that it's cronies for their people. This president stood his ground.
Absolutely.
Nigeria cannot function. And the truth of the matter is, whether it's the southeast or the southwest, will naturally want to do a handshake no matter how good or bad. So I am more than convinced that going to 2027, the strategists, like it or leave it, amongst the pack, who is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will do the right thing, whether it's going to be a Muslim ticket going forward, whether it's going to be a Muslim Christian ticket going forward, whether it's also going to be a Muslim, because he's a Muslim, an animist ticket going further. We must learn that Okoro is making a little bit of that. If it's not broken, why should you mend? But you can also find a way to say, yes, I went with it at a particular point in time. This other particular point in time, it may not augur well, depending on what the coalition, don't forget, depending on what the coalition will come up with.
Okay.
And when we get to that river, we not only will cross very successfully.
All right then. All right then. So let me come to Mr. Williams, DA. Now, the Northeast, or just say the North in general, seems to be putting out their grievances. But we haven't heard much from the Southeast as we work towards 2027. How do you feel about Southeast political elite who seem to be quiet at this time when they should be speaking up as well? There's also the conversation around that, the possibility of an extra state given to the Southeast. Do you think there is a possibility that that might happen? Do you think Southeasterners should also continue, put some pressure now to call for the release of Nnamdi Kanu and make that some sort of yardstick of them voting for the president in 2027, putting their own grievances forward? Why haven't they?
I think some few people have called for that before. Releasing Nnamdi Kanu will play a determinant factor for the Southeast backing the president for his re-election for second term. But that aside, the major issue they are facing, and I will tell you that I think the political power blocks in that region are the problem. I will say it categorically clear that they are the problem, because they are playing more to the gallery and trying to make sure that it's just only themselves. Because this is, in fact, when Senator Ndume cried, a lot of things were done, and it was pacified. But I've not seen any Southeast governor or Southeast power block or critical stakeholder complain about the marginalization, and there's a very quick response from the president or from the National Assembly. But this issue, critically looked at, it has been right from the inception that gave birth to the insurrection that they want to break out, the issue of Biafra, because of marginalization. And up to now, I don't think they've done enough to make sure that they are being carried along and included in the political structure of Nigeria, because they've not really had enough. Now, creation of states, I think that is a good direction, because the last time I saw that news, it was at the second reading in the National Assembly. Let's see what that will happen, if that will also give them some leverage.
Of people. If people have talked and championed and talked about how they're being marginalized to the point that there was a war and there was a country that were there for like 3 years, at the end of the day, up until now, those people are still being marginalized. What else do you think that they should do differently at this point in time for them to be, recognized and for their own interest to be represented there within the corridors of power in Nigeria?
Now look at the video running on the screen. These are people fighting for inclusiveness. For the fact that a person's name was omitted, the vice president, resulted to what happened. You can see
that's a party issue. I hope you know that's a party crisis.
Yes,
not...
I know it's a party issue.
All right.
But if you allow this to play, the Southeast may be marginalized in the second term that they are trying to bid for. Now bringing it to the issue. If the leaders from Southeast will come together, forget about their personal interest, forget about their party inclination, and they push for this inclusiveness, it will work. That is the reason, that is the major concern we're talking about it. If you look at them, they are all playing to the gallery. Personal interest. I've never seen them over the years coming together in one in accord to push that the inclusiveness of the north of this the Southeast or the East entirely should be a very important issue. Now they are playing a very critical position in this government to some extent. But what are they doing? They are all pushing for the re-election of the president, forgetting the fact that their people are crying for inclusiveness. They are being marginalized. These people are pushing for their personal interest rather than pushing for the Southeast. And this has been the problem in Africa. Now let's go back to the 2023 election. You saw how they were criticized, how they were.
All right. Unfortunately, we're absolutely out of time for this conversation. We thank you very much, Williams Ejaye. But stay with us as we get into another conversation. U.S. considering visa ban on Nigerians over corruption and weak data systems under the Tinubu administration. Let's talk about this when we come back.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
The U.S. under President Donald Trump is considering a general visa ban on Nigerians, citing corruption in President Bola Tinubu's administration, poor intelligence sharing, and unreliable identity databases. A State Department memo lists Nigeria amongst 33 countries given 60 days to meet new security and transparency benchmarks. Nigeria previously faced a similar ban during Trump's first term, later lifted under Buhari. Well, the move also comes amid renewed scrutiny of Tinubu's past, including drug trafficking allegations and a certificate scandal, as well as reports of him paying $2.7 million to U.S. lobbyists to rebuild his image. We still have in the studio here Mr. Akim Fatuke, a communications consultant. And from our Benin station, we have Mr. William Edaya. Mr. Fatuke, let me start with you here. Mr. Fatuke, if people are alleging that that the U.S. is considering visa ban, on Nigeria because of Tinubu's alleged past, like drug trafficking, forfeiture, certificate scandal, and all of that, what about the 35 other countries that are involved in this? Is it also because their president, has one skeleton in their cupboard or the other? Or do you think it is because that Trump is no longer comfortable with Nigerians coming to the U.S. because we understand that Nigeria accounts for the most educated diaspora community in the U.S. What should be his concern? Is it the president's image or Nigerians posing a threat to the United States? How will you position it?
Thank you. I'll position it by being careful. Okay. When you read your intro, and I saw a balance when you said, when you were going to ask me a question now, alleged. I think should remain alleged because I have tried to research into this. The website that is carrying this is People's Gazelle. That website has not been able to take off the toga of fake news. But let's even assume many of the things that you have read, has always been there. It's been the American government. The latest being the FBI was supposed to release documents still under the same Trump, and up till now, nothing has been released. For me, the better question to ask now is, so all the others who are drug addicts, they are fake and all that? I don't really think so. What I think is what I see on the ground, that the same Trump administration, not too long ago, was talking about the African High Command. They came here, they're trying to put some training to our military to try and support the Sahel region. What I see is a Donald Trump who, in a fell swoop, without necessarily have to go through some mediums, decided to ban and place restrictions on other countries. Nigeria was not part of it. So within a space of 2-3 weeks, Nigeria suddenly becomes a lot part of it. Now, data concerns, it's always been with us. It's been continuous improvement. I utter capacity to make sure that Nigeria is taken out.
Okay, let's restrict within this visa ban. What is of concern to you? Now, assuming, let's leave People's Gazette out of it. Oh. Let's even concede that it is true. What should be the concern to you? Is it because of our president, or is it because of Trump is clearly not in, is scared about what Africans are doing in the United States, particularly Nigeria? What is of more concern to you?
What is of more concern to me is that we collectively as a people have not shown ourselves very well. We are still into drug, we are still into narcotics, we are still, I mean, whether it's Dubai, whether it's US, whether it's Eastern Europe, whether it's even Africa, you know that we have not shown enough interest. I just read yesterday, NDLA arrested 2 people within a space of a few days. America is saying
going to ask for information about a certain forfeiture of a certain amount of dollar. Does it bother you? Is it concerning to you?
Let me be clear.
Okay.
The jail. It bothers me because Moses, maybe it's my family that's going to be affected. There are other people in this world. They don't address themselves that way. They look at more of the positive than the negative. I look more of the positive for my country, and I'm not going to be borne by what some people are saying. I have been in international fora, and they told me, you will not believe in year 2025 or thereabout, they were still saying Yes, we heard from your music that maybe you have a tale. Fella has sang about that a long time ago. I said, no. Yes, we heard that you are scammers and stuff like that. I said, I am a Nigerian. Do I look like a scammer to you? That is the difference. That is the Nigeria we should all be preaching. I'm not saying...
So you're saying, in other words, that we should continue to progress in error by trying not to denigrate Nigeria, by talking good about what we even see in the nation actually now not to be the right thing to do, a right action to take. For example, a president of Nigeria one time ago, not allegedly at this point in time, we heard that he paid a certain amount of money actually, more like a plea bargain. That has to do with a drug issue at this point in time. And people are making reference to that now, and he said we shouldn't talk about it. We should forget about what happened in 1990s and focus on what we're having now as immediate.
I did not say that.
Okay.
That's your interpretation. What I said is that there was a plea bargain. So it is not good for you to appropriate and reappropriate. Don't pick one and pick the rest. Was it concluded? Do you know if it was concluded? You are not satisfied with that conclusion? No problem with that. I will not continue to sit on that when I see Nigerians are doing great things. Just 1 week ago, our fella was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
All right then.
That is what I am looking at, and that's what they should be looking at, my music.
Okay.
So if you choose that you want to now continue to look at a particular thing that you know may continue to affect so many other people negatively,
all right,
it's not going to affect me, and it's not going to affect what I believe and I belong to. Yes.
All right then. Okay, so let's bring Williams Ediaye into this conversation. Williams, now should Nigerians be bothered that Donald Trump is considering putting Nigeria on a visa ban list? Should Nigerians even bother about it? There are other countries, well, some would say, in as much as Nigerians like to travel, but there are other countries that Nigerians can go to. Nigerians are going to Canada, the UK, other places as well. Is this a way of getting the government of Nigeria?
So while I was listening to my co-analyst from the studio, I was just smiling while I was trying to balance the issue. First of all, you as a country, America as a country, they are not totally free for corruption. If you are putting the allegation on Nigeria because they are corrupt and some because of lack of transparency and all that. No country is totally free from such. But first of all, I would blame the electoral system, political parties in all this situation. Why? Because you failed to scrutinize your candidate and you became a running candidate, and then the electoral institution INEC could not do their business, and that is still the news.
I'm not focusing on the president now. I'm saying Nigeria as a country and Nigerians. Should Nigerians be running helter-skelter when the U.S. sneezes, especially when it concerns a visa ban? Should we be concerned? I mean, there were restrictions.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, we need to be concerned, and I'm trying to get to that because some other things played before we find ourselves in such situations. Because normally, I know America, they are power bloc, they are very powerful countries, but they are not supposed to be boxing us around when it comes to visa situations. Because, for example, our countries where to do. Most of our Nigerian citizens will not want to travel abroad in the first place. And then the way we are also traveling, that's how their citizens are also tripping into the country. Well, now, what is our own visa policies? Because we're always being boxed to the corner. And
we're running out of time. Can you do us the favor of concluding in 30 seconds? Let's have your concluding thoughts in 30 seconds.
So your issue is that we need to fix our country and then make sure that we put ourselves in a very beautiful light. So our people can be accepted, because now we must first of all purge ourselves. That is what I was even coming to. Purge ourselves so that we'll be accepted internationally. And a country that does not want to accept us, then you will do it with it and then look for other countries that will be ready to accept us.
All right then. Fix our country. If the country is fixed, Nigerians wouldn't bother going anywhere. Nigerians would stay home. There's a lot of money to be made right here in Nigeria. Well, thank you very much, Williams Ediaye. Thank you for your contribution on the program. We have also been speaking with Akin Fatunke, who is a communications consultant, a political analyst. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the program. Well, that's it on the show. On behalf of my colleagues, Chukuma Okoro, Fina Okechukwu, and also the backroom staff, I am Moses Humphrey wishing you a beautiful day. But do well, join us again at 10 as we have newspaper review coming up shortly. Bye for now.